Today, I have a very special guest. She is a business leader. She's a prolific entrepreneur and philanthropist. Heidi Johnson Bixby joins me. She is the president and CEO of Johnson Bixby. It is a comprehensive financial planning firm providing accounting, tax services. This is based in Vancouver, Washington, but she has clients, I'm sure, around the globe. She is also the owner of The Difference. It is a women's clothing boutique offering personal styling and consulting with retail stores in Washington and Oregon. Heidi began her career in financial planning in 1991 as an assistant to the firm's founder. She achieved her certified financial planner certification in 1997 and became sole owner of the firm in 2008. Today, she leads the firm and her other organizations with a clear vision and a clear purpose to help clients plan for the lives they want by providing information they can use to make more informed decisions. She invests in the community through sponsorships with a focus on providing financial empowerment workshops. She is well renowned in Southwest Washington for her business acumen and her continued service and leadership in the community. In 2022, she was the catalyst for launching Ripple Impact Northwest to inspire more people to adopt philanthropy as a way of life through education on how to give and connecting them with nonprofits focused in their areas of interest and values. She is a very active member of the community, chairing or serving on the boards of so many nonprofits and businesses organizations, and has been for the last 30 years. She also continues to support many other organizations with her time, her knowledge, and her resources. And if that is not enough, Heidi has traveled to more than 30 countries, and most recently, Africa and the Galapagos Islands, with travel being the focus of her photography hobby. We are in store for some powerful insight with my guest. Please help me welcome Heidi Johnson Bixby to the show, Lead Stronger, Longer.
Thank you, Stefana. Great to be here.
Super exciting to have you. I adore you. There are so many people in our women's community, in the women entrepreneur world, that rave about Heidi. And so to have her here with me, folks, is a real treat. The first thing I want to ask you about is your favorite quote or mantra. This is what gets us started here. What is your guiding motto or mantra?
So I thought about this a lot because I'm kind of known for it around my company for two things that relate to each other. The first is vision drives decision, because if you know where you want to go, then decision making is pretty easy because those decisions, you know, you're on a path to get you toward your vision. And then the other one that I think helps and is akin to that is be prepared for opportunities, because as you're going along and you're trying to make decisions toward your vision, you never know what opportunities are kind of come along. And I am always open to what those might be. But as long as I know where I'm headed, I know which opportunities to take advantage of. And I'm always prepared for when those come along.
I'd love to unpack that. But first, I want to find out what led you to your specialization. Did you have a clear vision that you were going into the financial world?
So no, I think that's important for a couple of reasons. One is I have always enjoyed finance and business, and when I was 10, I knew I wanted to be a CPA. I mean, like, I just knew that's what I wanted to do. And I ended up in a profession that's akin to accounting and finance, and have my CFP designation instead. But I've always been drawn to business and finance from a very young age. But the profession that I ended up in, and keep in mind, financial planning is actually only 50, 60 years old, and I've been around for 32 years. So, I mean, it was a very young profession when I started and has grown since. And so it's kind of a funny story, if you don't mind me sharing, because I think it's important that I didn't have any passion about what I did when I started. And it was a complete accident that I ended up in this business in particular and in this profession. I was unemployed at the time. I'd gotten fired from a job and I was unemployed and I was looking for work. And this is back in the day when you submitted a resume on actual paper. And so, remember those days? So someone had said, don't put it on white paper. Everyone does that. So put it on a colored piece of paper. And I chose purple. And so there's lore in our firm of, Heidi submitting her resume on purple paper, color of the firm today. And so what's interesting about that, and my mantra of being prepared for opportunities is I showed up for that interview and the person said to me, you had no redeeming qualities for this position, but I wanted to know what kind of person submits their resume on purple paper. And so I was prepared for making the best, impression that I could. And they also, at the time, Word and Excel was very new. I didn't know a ton about it. I got the interview. They said, come back and test. I went home and I studied and I practiced and I went back and I passed and they ended up hiring me. But, it was by accident that I ended up where I am today. And it's just ended up being, though, a beautiful marriage of my skills, which is I love the technical aspect, but none of that means anything if I can't marry it with helping individual people kind of achieve what is possible for them. So it's a beautiful marriage and it's been a great profession.
I love that. What a great story. And it almost ties right into wanting to know about a crucial early mistake that you made. You told us a little bit about your journey. Was there any major pitfall or a key challenge that you faced? And what did you learn from that?
I wish I had some aha moment like that. I think because I have always felt mistakes and failures are just learning opportunities. That's how I've always looked at them. Like, all right, well, that didn't work. Let's try something else. And I feel like if I ever make a wrong decision about something, that it's not wrong. It's the best decision that I could have made at the time. And I just make another decision and I pivot. So I think I really wish I had some major thing that I could say, but I feel like the lesson learned is mistakes are opportunities to learn and grow and figure out the patterns to things. I would say, often, I don't remember the exact phrase, but, success doesn't teach you anything. Failures teach you something. And I feel like mine has been more of just an evolution of growth about myself more than anything. It's not like I can say, oh, don't do this particular thing in business. I would say most of my failures and most of my learning opportunities were moments where I got to learn more about myself. How do I interact in a situation? How do I process information? What's important to me? And therefore I'm paying attention to something. I feel like that's the lesson that I have learned over time is more about myself.
Yeah, that's really valuable. And I think just you talking about self-discovery and being willing to have that growth mindset that is now kind of the buzzword. You just
Number one,
embody that.
Have to.
So how does that tie into you being a leader and how you empower others?
So one of the things that we have, our company values, one of them is stay humble. And I think it's super important as the person who sets the tone that I'm the first one to admit my mistakes. If, I didn't add to 100 on something or, I whatever it was, like I am the first one to say, yep, I made a mistake on that one, or I didn't do it right, or I need to learn a process differently. I think as a leader, you have to be humble and you have to show that you are willing to learn and grow and that you don't know everything, that you're certainly willing to share the wisdom that you've acquired over the years. It's like, I learned at an early age, I didn't need to reinvent the wheel. so I have learned from others without having to experience it myself, but I also feel there's some things you just have to do, learn, and other mentors that have been older than me, they will tell me something, I'll have to experience them like, oh, that's what they meant. And I think as a leader, being humble and recognizing you don't have the answer for everything, sharing the wisdom that you do have, but recognizing you have a lot to learn from anyone around you. And so stay humble is probably my biggest.
Yeah, I think that's really wise for an up and coming leader, or a leader that's been in the trenches for a long time and is probably maybe feeling burned out. They maybe just need to step back for a little bit.
Yeah.
I look at you knowing that I've observed all of the business, you're in my local town. I've observed a lot of the community speaking about you, the activities that you do. And there is a sense of, ooh, she's untouchable. And I know you don't give that off to me. And anyone
Good.
watching probably
Good. I want to be that.
but it tells me something, and that is that most people, it's why I do this podcast. It's why I bring people on, because I want people to realize there are real people doing the same things, same struggles. And if you could just relax, we're not living a social, like all these little time blips that someone gets to see of someone.
Yeah.
We can compare our backyard to someone's, or our garage to someone's front yard that's all pristine. And that's not what the case is. And you as a leader, you're in there day in, day out. But what I hear as a beautiful thread is that it's almost like the power of simplicity, because you have this simple elegance of who you are and what you embody in terms of what you're here to do, what your mission is. It is a thread throughout everything you've spoken and your bio and what I see on your websites and what I know. And that, I think, is so valuable. So what would you say to leaders, up and coming leaders, and especially those that are really driven and almost to the point where they're driving themselves too far the other direction? What could you give as insight and advice from this place that you've now come to of, and maybe you haven't come to it, maybe that's always how you've been, is you've just embodied this, hey, I'm going with the flow, I'm showing up as me, and I'm okay if I make a mistake. So can you unpack that and just give us a little bit more maybe that has come up for you that you could share?
I am not one who naturally stresses or worries about things, but I've thought about why that is, because I mean, there's a lot of stresses, and you would think in the financial industry that I'm in, and where the market's doing and the economy in the world, you'd think I, would never sleep and be worried about stuff, and I'm not. And I realized a lot of it has to do with I seek information, and part of that has to do with that, be prepared for opportunities. So one of the things that I think is important is continuing to build your knowledge base, make connections, and have that information that helps you make those decisions. Because I think one of the ways that I stay grounded and I don't get so full of myself, or at least, I hope I don't, is there's this mix between having the confidence to move forward. And if you make a mistake, brush it off, be resilient, make another decision and move forward. The world's not going to come to an end. It's just not. It's not that important. Like, we're all trying to do our best every day, and that is the best we can do. And that's kind of how I look at it. Like, I try and gather the information so that I can do the things that I want to do, move the companies forward, provide opportunities to my clients and the community and my employees. Like, I do those things, but I do it with a grain of salt that I can only do what I'm capable of doing. I don't put the pressure on myself to say, if I don't achieve this, world's coming to an end. Like, I just don't go there. So it's that mix of having seeking information and continuing to grow as a person, individually, professionally, knowledge base, so that I feel confident in the decisions that I'm making. And I just step forward knowing I'm doing the best that I can, and that it's important in doing that as well. I would say the other thing that has given me strength in that is I surround myself with the most incredible people I can. And I think that's another component that I have been blessed with, is having phenomenal mentors in my life. And sometimes those are paid coaches, business coaches, personal coaches, but sometimes they're, community members, friends, all kinds of things. But I think mentors are so important. And to me, all of that like goes together in my head, because if you stay humble, but you are real clear about what you want, and you continue to move forward, and you just accept life is going to happen, mistakes might happen, challenges will come along, but you keep moving forward and stay resilient in that. I'm one who believes like the universe gives you what you need, and and it has for me. And I think because I also come with an attitude of gratitude, I am constant. I don't care if I'm on Mill Plain going all the way down and I hit every green light. I'm like, thank you, thank you, thank you for the smallest things. All of those things together, I think, is what hopefully keeps me grounded. And I would say to someone who's young in their career, like, don't take yourself so seriously. And I know that's almost cliche to say that, but it's not. People care more about what you have to offer as a person and your knowledge. And the more you show up as a genuine person, not trying to impress anyone, but being this quiet, intelligent, thoughtful, confident person, I think gets you a lot further in you accomplishing what you want for your life. Not getting further for accomplishment and success, but like really thinking about what you want in your life. I probably rambled a bit with that, but to me, it all ties together, and all those aspects are really important.
Yes, so many good things in there, from your own personal self-awareness and ability to reflect, and that you gather information not to react, but to be more knowledgeable, and that you stay consistent. I can see you literally, just like as the period of your time, you have over the period of your career have been consistent in your values, in your vision.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that I think is we need more of. And I think that sets you apart, because let's face it, you are at a caliber that, you just are. You're at a higher level caliber, and you've said, I mean, you basically gave us the secrets. You gave us consistency, surrounding yourself with mentors and coaches, but not just that, applying that information and then consistently applying it without reinventing the wheel. You've given us so much. Like, this is a little book in itself.
So, Stefana, one thing I will say, I mean, you've said, that I'm set apart, or I can't remember your exact words. But here's the thing, I will give you this. I have been extremely fortunate to live my values and stay consistent, because I have had control of my career the entire time. And not to say that it hasn't been hard, and, that there hasn't been challenges along the way, but I do think it makes a difference that I hear so many stories of women in particular, but they are not in an environment that nurtures who they are. And I have been extremely fortunate to have people who believed in me, who supported my ideas. And that I will say is rare. And so one thing I would say to someone is, if you're not in an environment that is supportive to you and is embracing your growth and development, find a no place to be. It's hard to make that leap. I see people stay in positions longer than they ever should have, because they're afraid of what is on the other side. Like, do not live your life that way. And I will say that is something that is unique to me, where I have been able to be a woman that in a financial planning profession where 26% of us are women as the CFP designation. And so not only a woman in a man's profession, but also surrounding myself with really talented women is unique.
And intentional. Everything you're saying is intentional, but not an in your face, shove it down your throat. It is a very gentle, subtle thing. And I think I want to point this out because you said it, as a woman and a women-owned business, there is a natural energy, that feminine energy of nurturing and being able to tap into yourself. So many important things that you've said today. Thank you so much. Is there a book that is like your go-to book?
I don't have a go-to book, but I love Malcolm Gladwell. Anything he writes, I'm like all over. So I was really fortunate. I got to see him speak at a conference, and then there was a book signing afterwards. And I went up with my book, and I got to him, and I'm like, I love you, Malcolm. And he looked at me, and he's like, well, you can never have too much love in the world. I really love everything he does, and I think it goes to my liking to put puzzles together. Like that's what I get to do with clients all the time. And in my businesses, like he takes these pieces that seemingly don't go together and brings them to show how things impact each other. And when I think about what I'm trying to do, a kind of a brand phrase for us is the ripple effect. And I think his books, all of them, bring unique things together that you wouldn't think happen together, but the effect that we all make is clear, and seeing some of those in real tangible format over a long period of time, often the things he's bringing together is just so resonating with me, because having worked with clients for so many years, like sometimes it's 20 years later before the thing that we plan for happens. And just knowing that the ripple effect of all of those decisions we're making is what ultimately makes the dream happen. So I love anything he writes.
Brilliant. And that whole concept is that we are in it for the journey and the experience, and not having to always get to that destination. Oh, Heidi, so many great nuggets.
Well, because that's the other thing is, and when I would say, like, one of the things that I try not to do is say, okay, well, when I get to this, then this. To me, it's like, and I say this to clients too, like, don't wait. Like keep doing a little bit of everything instead of waiting until this one thing happens. Like you're missing out a lot by doing that. And so that's also important to me. So I have so many things going on.
But you're able to keep it balanced and harmony. And I think that's the key. That probably has to do with your aesthetics and your creativity that you also have. We haven't even touched on that, but I want to respect your time. I thank you so much for coming on.
My pleasure.
And sharing your insight. I know it will help. It certainly helped me, and I know it will help others and create a ripple effect.